Dr. Catherine Murphy stared at her computer screen, coffee growing cold beside her keyboard. For 5 years, she had led the Deep Space Monitoring Project at the Global Space Initiative, analyzing countless signals from the stars. This one was different. "Paul, come look at this," she called to her colleague. Paul Miller rolled his chair across the observatory's control room. His eyes widened as he studied the pattern on the screen. "Is that what I think it is?" he asked, voice barely above a whisper. "If you think it's a perfectly ordered sequence of prime numbers followed by what appears to be a mathematical proof, then yes." Catherine's hands trembled slightly as she pulled up additional data. "And it's definitely not coming from any of our probes or satellites." The signal had originated from somewhere beyond the Kuiper Belt, approximately 47 astronomical units from Earth. Its precision and complexity ruled out any natural cosmic phenomenon. Within hours, the facility buzzed with activity. Government officials arrived by nightfall. By morning, similar signals had been detected by observatories across the globe. 3 days later, President Nicole Carter addressed the world. "Fellow citizens of Earth, I come before you today with news of profound importance. Scientists have confirmed that we have received communication from an intelligent non-human source. Let me be clear. We have made contact with an alien civilization." The announcement triggered both celebration and panic. Religious leaders offered varied interpretations. Markets fluctuated wildly. Military forces worldwide went to heightened alert status. At the United Nations Emergency Session, representatives voted to establish the Interspecies Communication Task Force, ICTF, comprised of the world's leading scientists, linguists, and military strategists. Dr. Murphy was appointed head of the scientific division. Her team worked tirelessly to analyze the continuing transmissions, which grew increasingly complex. "They're teaching us their language," she explained to the ICTF board. "First mathematics, then basic concepts, now what appears to be their history. They're intelligent and methodical." "And their intentions?" asked General Frank Weber, the American representative. "Unknown," Catherine replied honestly. "But they're coming. These latest transmissions include what we believe are travel coordinates and timeframes." The ICTF established a response protocol. Earth would send its own messages, peaceful but cautious. Humanity would present itself as curious, intelligent, and unified, careful not to appear either threatening or vulnerable. As weeks passed, more was learned about the aliens who called themselves the Orcs. They described a coalition of species with faster-than-light travel capabilities and thousands of years of interstellar history. Then came the first warning sign. Then Rodriguez, a junior analyst at the Lunar Observatory, noticed unusual readings near Jupiter. "It doesn't match any known astronomical event," he reported. "It's like space itself is bending." Catherine rushed to verify the data herself. "Something's coming through," she whispered as the instruments recorded a localized disruption in spacetime. A small object materialized in Jupiter's orbit. Preliminary scans indicated it was artificial, approximately 30 meters in length with an unknown alloy composition. "First contact is no longer theoretical," Catherine announced to the emergency ICTF meeting. "They've arrived in our solar system." Telescopes worldwide focused on the vessel. It remained in Jupiter's orbit for precisely 24 hours before suddenly accelerating toward Mars, then Earth. "It's a scout," General Weber declared. "They're assessing us." When the vessel positioned itself in Earth's orbit, every military on the planet readied their weapons. Fighter jets scrambled. Missile systems activated. The world held its breath. The alien craft made no aggressive moves. Instead, it began transmitting directly to Earth's communications networks. The message was simple and had been translated based on the language lessons received earlier. "We see you. We know you. Prepare for evaluation." 3 hours later, the vessel vanished as suddenly as it had appeared. In the silent aftermath, Dr. Murphy reviewed the data and made a chilling discovery. During its brief visit, the alien craft had scanned every inch of Earth's surface, mapped our defense systems, and copied massive amounts of data from the internet. This wasn't just first contact. It was first reconnaissance. 36 hours after the scout ship disappeared, alarms blared across Earth's defense network. A larger vessel had entered the solar system, bypassing all early warning systems until it was already past Neptune. Captain Alan Brooks stood on the bridge of the EDF Defender, Earth's most advanced military spacecraft. Though impressive by human standards, it was a mere patrol boat compared to what had just arrived. "All hands to battle stations," he ordered, his voice steady despite the fear tightening his chest. "Weapons hot, but hold fire unless I give the command." The alien ship dwarfed the Defender, stretching nearly a kilometer in length. Its surface gleamed with an iridescent material unknown to human science, shifting colors like oil on water. "Sir, they're scanning us," reported Lieutenant Grace Wilson from the sensor station. "Our systems are being probed." Alan gripped the command rail. "Maintain position. Let's see what they want." The ICTF had prepared for this moment. Protocols dictated that humanity should appear capable, but not hostile. Yet, the Defender was part of a carefully choreographed show of strength, positioned to intercept the visitors while the rest of Earth's modest fleet remained hidden in strategic positions. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission," said Communications Officer Jack Reynolds. A holographic display appeared above the command console. The beam displayed was clearly not human, tall and slender with 4 arms and skin that rippled with the same iridescent quality as their ship. Its face contained 3 large eyes arranged in a triangle. "Humans," the alien spoke, its voice translated by the ICTF algorithms. "We are the HFY. We come to assess your world's value." Alan followed his script precisely. "We welcome peaceful contact, but we protect what is ours. State your intentions clearly." The alien's eyes blinked in sequence. "Curious. Your species shows more advancement than expected. We require samples of your world's resources, biological specimens, and technology. You will comply." "I'm afraid that's not possible without further discussion and agreements," Alan replied. "We invite you to send representatives to meet with our leaders." The alien made a sound that might have been laughter. "You misunderstand. This is not a negotiation." Without warning, the alien vessel released dozens of smaller craft that streaked toward Earth. Simultaneously, an energy beam lashed out, striking the Defender's shields. "Return fire," Alan commanded, abandoning protocol. "All Earth forces engage." The hidden human fleet emerged, unleashing everything in their arsenal. To everyone's surprise, their weapons had an effect. The alien ship shields flickered under the assault. From Earth, ground-based defense systems activated, destroying most of the smaller craft before they entered the atmosphere. The few that got through were met by fighter jets that had been on standby since the scout ship's visit. For 20 tense minutes, the battle raged. The Defender took heavy damage but remained operational. Then, unexpectedly, the alien vessel disengaged and retreated at incredible speed. "They're running," Grace said in disbelief. "No," Alan replied grimly. "They're reporting back." In the aftermath, ICTF analysts worked frantically to understand what had happened. One of the smaller alien craft had been disabled intact, providing invaluable intelligence. Dr. Murphy led the research team examining the recovered vessel. "These beings, these HFY, have visited hundreds of worlds," she explained to the emergency UN session. "According to their records, they classify planets by resource value and indigenous resistance capability." "And Earth?" asked President Carter. "High value, moderate resistance," Catherine answered. "But that's not all. We found evidence they've stripped entire civilizations of resources, technology, even people. They're not explorers or diplomats. They're harvesters." General Weber stepped forward. "The good news is they underestimated us. Our weapons hurt them. The bad news is they'll be back, and in greater numbers." The room fell silent until President Carter spoke. Then we need to be ready when they return. As of this moment, Earth is on a war footing. That night, factories worldwide converted to military production. Research facilities focused exclusively on defense technology. The age of human innocence was over. Humanity had 6 months to prepare. Daniel Garcia hadn't slept in 3 days. The ICTF cryptographer's office was a mess of coffee cups and protein bar wrappers. His eyes burned from staring at screens, but he couldn't stop. Not when he was so close. "Got you," he whispered, entering the final algorithm. The alien data from the captured scout ship began to transform into readable text. Daniel immediately called Dr. Murphy. "Catherine, I've broken through their security protocols. You need to see this." Within an hour, the ICTF leadership gathered around Daniel's workstation. They call themselves the collectors in their internal communications, Daniel explained, pointing to translated text. The Araxelinane was just what they call themselves to other species before invasion. Catherine leaned closer to the screen. "What are these star charts?" "Their harvest record," Daniel said grimly. "Each mark is a world they've visited. The color indicates the outcome." The chart showed hundreds of worlds spanning 3 galactic arms. Most were marked in red. "Red means strip mined to the core," Daniel explained. "Orange means partially harvested. Green means scheduled for future collection." General Weber pointed to Earth's location. "We're marked in green." "Not anymore," Daniel said. "After the encounter with Captain Brooks, they updated our status to orange with a warning symbol." Colonel Olivia Peters, head of military intelligence, pulled up additional files. According to this, their standard procedure is to remove all useful materials from a planet, including metals, water, organic compounds, and sentient species for labor. "They're planet killers," Catherine whispered. The evidence was undeniable. The collectors operated on a cycle spanning centuries. They would identify resource-rich worlds, assess indigenous resistance, then return with appropriate force to strip the planet bare. Their technology was advanced, but not impossibly so. Their advantage came from overwhelming numbers and experience. "They'd been doing this for over 10,000 years, Daniel said. "They've perfected their methods." "But they've never met humans," General Weber replied. The UN Security Council convened an emergency session that night. By morning, the Emergency Planetary Defense Act had been ratified by every nation on Earth. Under the Act, all scientific and industrial resources worldwide were dedicated to military preparation. National armies merged into the Unified Earth Defense Force. Borders remained, governments continued to function, but everyone worked toward a single goal: survival. Colonel Peters led the intelligence team analyzing collector tactics. "They follow patterns," she explained to the Defense Committee. "First, they send scouts. Then a small force to test defenses. Finally, they return with a harvest fleet scaled to the resistance they expect." "How big will our harvest fleet be?" asked the Chinese representative. "Based on our performance against their test force, significant," Olivia answered. "But we have one advantage. They're overconfident. They've rarely encountered meaningful resistance." Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Lisa Chen supervised the adaptation of collector technology. "Their energy weapons operate on principles we've theorized but never implemented," she explained to Catherine during a rare break. "Give me 3 months, and I can have prototypes." Similar facilities operated around the world, beneath the Swiss Alps, the Sahara Desert, the Australian outback. Humanity pooled resources, setting aside centuries of conflict in the face of extinction. In orbit, construction began on defense platforms. On the Moon, automated factories produced ships and weapons. Mars colonies were fortified as a fallback position. 6 months passed, then a year, 2 years. The collectors didn't return, but humanity didn't falter in its preparations. The ICTF had learned enough about collector tactics to know this was normal. They tested, they planned, they gathered forces, Then they struck when the target least expected it. They think they have all the time in the world, General Weber told the Global Defense Council on the third anniversary of first contact. They've done this hundreds of times, but they've never faced an enemy that used their absence to prepare as thoroughly as we have. Catherine nodded. The longer they wait, the stronger we become. And in the darkness between stars, humanity's watchers remained vigilant, waiting for the inevitable return of those who saw Earth as nothing more than a resource to be harvested. 5 years after first contact, Earth was unrecognizable. What had once been cities were now fortresses. What had been research centers were now weapons factories. What had been rivals were now allies. Commander Eric Jordan stood in the control center of Sentinel Station 1, humanity's furthest deep space monitoring outpost. The facility floated at the edge of the solar system, watching the darkness for any sign of the collector's return. Status report, Eric said, studying the holographic display that surrounded him. All systems operational, sir, replied his second-in-command, Maria Reyes. The quantum entanglement network is stable. We'll know the moment they enter detection range. The quantum network was one of humanity's newest achievements. Communication that worked instantly across any distance without detectable signals. The collectors wouldn't know they were being observed until it was too late. Any updates from home? Eric asked. Maria nodded. Dr. Chen has completed the final tests on the quantum shield technology. Full deployment across Earth's defense grid begins tomorrow. Eric smiled slightly. Lisa Chen's work had transformed humanity's defensive capabilities. The quantum shields could absorb and redirect energy attacks, making them stronger with each hit they took. The technology had been reverse-engineered from the collector vessel they had captured. And the Jupiter shipyards. The 15th Battle Group launched yesterday. 37 capital ships and support vessels, all equipped with the new drive systems. Those drive systems were another breakthrough. Not quite the faster-than-light technology the collectors used, but close enough to give human ships unprecedented speed and maneuverability within the solar system. Eric's tablet beeped with an incoming priority message. It was from General Weber. Operation Awakening Arsenal is now activated. The message read, all commands are authorized to deploy Phase 3 equipment. The waiting is over. They're coming. Eric's heart raced as he turned to Maria. Sound General Quarters. Activate the early warning array. Alarms blared throughout the station as crew rushed to battle stations. Sir, called out the sensor operator, we have multiple space-time distortions forming at the edge of detection range. Signature matches collector vessels. How many? Eric demanded. Hundreds, came the grim reply. Maybe thousands. Eric opened the secure channel to Earth. Sentinel Station 1 to Defense Command. Operation Broken Mirror is a go. I repeat, Broken Mirror is a go. Across the solar system, humanity's preparations came to life. On Earth, Dr. Lisa Chen stood in the Global Defense Headquarters beneath Geneva as the quantum shields activated over every major city and installation. The shields shimmered like auroras in the sky, beautiful but deadly. Power levels stable, she reported. Shield integrity at 100%. In orbit, Admiral Susan Parker watched as the orbital defense platforms moved into formation. Each platform housed weapons that didn't exist 5 years ago. Gravity lances, particle accelerators, and antimatter missiles. All platforms report ready, her tactical officer announced. Targeting systems aligned. In the Mars colony, Major Ryan Foster led his troops into hardened bunkers designed to survive even if Earth fell. This is not a drill, he told them. Remember your training. Remember what we're fighting for. And across every continent, in hidden bases and reinforced command centers, humanity's soldiers prepared for the fight of their existence. The most remarkable change wasn't physical but psychological. 5 years ago, the appearance of an alien vessel had triggered panic. Now there was only grim determination. Humanity had used the time wisely. They had studied their enemy. They had adapted collector technology and improved upon it. They had prepared defenses the collectors couldn't imagine. At the lunar base, a massive AI system designated GUARD-IN came fully online, connecting every weapon, shield, and sensor in the solar system into a single defensive network that could react faster than human reflexes. In his command chair on Sentinel Station, Eric watched the approaching collector fleet on his displays. They were moving with confidence, using the same formation they had used hundreds of times against other worlds. Eric opened the general channel to all Earth forces. "They think they know what's waiting for them," he said calmly. "They think this is just another harvest. Let's show them how wrong they are." Throughout the solar system, humanity's arsenal awakened. The real war was about to begin. The collector fleet arrived with precision, emerging from faster-than-light travel in a perfect attack formation. Their massive harvest ships dwarfed even their largest scouts, each one stretching miles in length. Surrounding them were thousands of smaller vessels, fighters, bombers, and landing craft designed to overwhelm planetary defenses through sheer numbers. Sentinel Station 1 transmitted its final warning before going silent. The station's crew had evacuated hours earlier, leaving behind only automated systems and a surprise for any collectors who investigated too closely. The first wave targeted Mars. Major Ryan Foster watched from the command bunker as the alien ships descended toward the red planet. The Mars colony had been transformed from a scientific outpost into a fortress over the past 5 years. Its population of 50,000 included both civilians and soldiers, all of whom had trained endlessly for this moment. All units in position, Ryan confirmed over the secure comm. Shields at maximum. The collectors struck with overwhelming force. Energy weapons lashed out from orbit, designed to cripple the colony's defenses before ground troops landed. But the quantum shields held, absorbing the attacks and growing stronger with each hit. "They're following standard harvesting procedure," Ryan noted to his officers, just as Colonel Peters predicted. When the initial bombardment failed, the collectors launched their landing craft. Thousands of vessels descended toward the Martian surface. "Activate the gravity wells," Ryan ordered. Hidden emplacements around the colony powered up, creating localized gravitational distortions that caught the collector ships and pulled them off course. Hundreds crashed into the Martian surface. The survivors faced automated defense turrets that had been adapted from collector technology. "They're adapting," warned Ryan's tactical officer as the second wave of landing craft took a different approach. "New vector of attack." Ryan nodded grimly. "Spring the trap." Beneath the Martian soil, thousands of automated drones activated, rising up to engage the collector forces from below. The Mars defense was never meant to win, only to delay and damage the enemy while revealing their tactics. "Colony shields at 60%, reported the defense officer. "We've destroyed approximately 30% of their landing force, but they keep coming." Ryan opened the direct line to Earth. "Mars colony to Defense Command. Phase 1 complete. We have their attention. Begin Phase 2. In Earth orbit, Admiral Susan Parker gave the order that humanity had been preparing for 5 years. All ships, execute Operation Spear Throw. The Earth Defense Fleet had remained hidden behind the moon, shielded from collector sensors. Now they emerged, but not to defend Earth. Instead, they accelerated toward the main collector fleet still focused on Mars. "They haven't detected us yet," Susan observed. "Maintain emissions control until we reach attack range." The human fleet moved silently through space, using minimal power to avoid detection. Each ship carried weapons reverse-engineered from collector technology, but modified in ways the aliens wouldn't expect. On Mars, the battle intensified. The colony's outer defenses began to fall as collector forces established footholds. Major Foster led his troops in a fighting retreat toward the central bunkers. "Casualty reports coming in," his sergeant reported. 23 dead, 47 wounded. Ryan's expression remained stoic, but his hands tightened on his rifle. Each death weighed on him, but they had all volunteered knowing the risks. Mars was the sacrifice play, the distraction that would give Earth its chance. "Begin evacuation sequence," he ordered. Get the civilians to the underground shelters. As the collectors pressed their advantage on Mars, Admiral Parker's fleet reached attack position. All ships, weapons free, she commanded. Hit them with everything we've got. The Earth fleet opened fire simultaneously. Advanced missiles struck the unprotected rear of the collector fleet, followed by energy weapons that targeted propulsion systems and command centers. The collectors, caught completely by surprise, scattered in confusion. Their rigid tactical doctrine had never accounted for prey that would abandon one colony to save another. They're breaking formation, Susan observed with grim satisfaction. Push the advantage. The human fleet pressed forward, targeting the largest collector vessels. For every Earth ship lost, they destroyed 3 enemy craft. It wasn't a victory. The collectors still outnumbered them, but it was enough to force a choice. After 6 hours of intense fighting, a collector commander made their decision. The fleet disengaged from Mars, regrouped, and retreated beyond the solar system. Admiral Susan Parker stood on the bridge of the EDF Retribution, Earth's largest battleship. Around her, the crew worked with practiced efficiency, preparing for what would be humanity's most daring move yet. Status report, she ordered. All ships report ready, Admiral, replied her executive officer, Commander Nathan Hayes. The fleet is in position. Through the view screen, Susan could see the assembled might of humanity. 150 warships gathered at the edge of the solar system. It had taken a monumental effort to build this force, with every nation contributing resources and personnel. The collector staging area is 2 hours away at maximum speed, Nathan continued. Our intelligence drones confirm they're assembling a much larger force than before. Susan nodded. They think they know what to expect now. They're preparing to overwhelm us. The Earth Defense Council had debated the next steps for days after the Battle of Mars. Some wanted to fortify Earth and prepare for the inevitable second attack. Others, including Susan, had proposed a different strategy. Why wait for them to attack us again? She had argued. They expect us to cower behind our defenses. Let's show them what happens when you threaten humanity. Now that strategy was in motion. Operation Hammerfall, humanity's first offensive action against the collectors. Open channel to all ships, Susan ordered. As the communications officer complied, Susan took a deep breath. The faces of every ship captain appeared on her screen, men and women from every nation on Earth, united in purpose. This is Admiral Parker. Today we take the fight to the enemy. The collectors have harvested countless worlds, stripped civilizations bare, and treated sentient beings as resources to be exploited. They expected Earth to be just another victim. Today we proved them wrong. She paused, looking at each face on the screen. They don't understand what they've awakened. They don't understand that humans don't surrender, we don't cower, and we don't forgive those who threaten our home. Today we show them exactly what that means. The faces on the screen showed determination, not fear. 5 years of preparation had transformed Earth's military forces into something unprecedented. Soldiers who knew their enemy and had the tools to fight them. Engage quantum drives on my mark, Susan ordered. 3, 2, 1, mark. The human fleet disappeared into the darkness, traveling faster than any Earth vessels had moved before. The quantum drives, reverse-engineered from collector technology, but improved by human ingenuity, propelled them toward their target. 2 hours later, they arrived at the collector staging area. It was a massive space station orbiting a dead planet, surrounded by thousands of warships. They've detected us, Nathan reported as alarms sounded across the bridge. Their fleet is moving to intercept. Implement Phase 1, Susan ordered calmly. From each human ship, dozens of small drones deployed, each transmitting signals that mimicked a full-sized warship. To collector sensors, it appeared that hundreds more human vessels had suddenly appeared. They're confused, Nathan observed, watching the collector fleet break formation. Their attack pattern is disorganized. Now Phase 2, Susan commanded. All ships, target the station. The Earth fleet fired as one, using weapons specifically designed to penetrate collector defenses. Missiles carrying quantum warheads struck the station's shields, followed by gravity lances that distorted space itself around their targets. The station's shields flickered and failed. The collector ships moved to protect it, but they were reacting to threats that didn't exist, chasing drone signals while the real human fleet concentrated fire on their base. "Their command structure is breaking down," reported the tactical officer. "They're not coordinating defenses." Susan watched as the station began to break apart under the human assault. The collectors had never expected to defend this position. They had always been the aggressors, never the defenders. "Prepare the broadcast," Susan ordered. "All frequencies, all languages we've decoded from their communications." As the collector station exploded in a brilliant flash of light, humanity sent its message. It wasn't just words. It included images of Earth's defenses, its unified military, the technology they had developed. It showed collector ships being destroyed and human resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. The message ended with a simple statement in the collector's own language. "Earth is not your harvest ground. Humanity is not your resource. This was your only warning. Return, and you will find nothing but your destruction." 3 months after Operation Hammerfall, Earth received an unexpected signal. It wasn't from the collectors. The communication used none of their patterns or encryption methods. It came from a completely different direction in space. Dr. William Hayes, who had replaced Catherine Murphy as head of the ICTF after she took a position in the unified government, studied the message with growing excitement. "It's definitely artificial," he told the Earth Defense Council. "And it's using mathematical patterns similar to our first contact protocols. Someone wants to talk." "Another threat?" asked General Weber, now gray-haired but still commanding Earth's military forces. "I don't think so," William replied. "The tone and structure suggest peaceful intentions. They're being careful not to appear aggressive." After careful deliberation, Earth responded with its own message, cautiously welcoming but making clear that humanity was prepared to defend itself. 2 weeks later, a single ship appeared at the edge of the solar system. It waited there, making no move to approach Earth without permission. "Their ship design is completely different from collector technology," William noted as he studied the sensor readings. "More elegant, less threatening." The Earth Defense Council debated for hours before reaching a decision. A small delegation would meet the visitors at a neutral location, the rebuilt Sentinel Station 1. William led the human delegation, accompanied by military officers and scientists. As they docked with the station, he felt a mixture of hope and caution. First contact had gone badly once before. The aliens who emerged from their vessel were nothing like the collectors. Where the collectors had been tall, imposing figures with multiple limbs, these beings were shorter than humans, with smooth blue skin and large expressive eyes. "We are the Galactic Consortium," their leader introduced themselves through a translation device. "I am Ambassador Zora. We have observed your conflict with the collectors." William introduced himself and the human delegation. "We defend our home," he said simply. Ambassador Zora made a gesture that might have been respect. "For thousands of years, the collectors have terrorized this sector of the galaxy. Many species have fallen to them. None have successfully driven them back, until now." The revelation stunned the human delegation. William glanced at his colleagues before responding. "We didn't know there were others fighting them." "Fighting? No," Zora clarified. "Surviving, hiding, avoiding detection, yes. The consortium consists of 17 species who have managed to evade the collectors. We have watched as they stripped world after world. We were too scattered, too cautious to stand against them." "Then why come to us now?" asked Colonel Peters. "Because you did what we could not," Zora replied. "You showed that the collectors can be defeated. Your warning to them, which we intercepted, has changed the balance of power in this sector." Over the next few days, the humans learned more about the consortium. They were not a military alliance, but a loose coalition of species focused on mutual survival. They had advanced technology in some areas, medicine, sustainable energy, faster than light travel, but had avoided developing weapons that might attract the collectors' attention. The collectors are retreating from this sector entirely, Zara revealed during their third meeting. Your attack on their staging area did more than damage their fleet. It damaged their certainty. For the first time, they fear another species. William shared this information with Earth, where it was met with cautious celebration. Humanity had not just defended itself, it had inadvertently liberated an entire sector of the galaxy. 6 months later, Earth formally joined the Galactic Consortium. The alliance benefited both sides. The consortium gained a strong protector, while humanity gained access to new technologies and knowledge of the wider galaxy. William, now Earth's first ambassador to the consortium, stood with Zara on the observation deck of Unity Station, a new facility built in Earth orbit specifically for interspecies cooperation. "Do you think the collectors will return?" Zara asked, watching Earth rotate below them. "Perhaps," William answered honestly, "but they'll find more than just humanity waiting for them if they do." Already, several consortium species have begun developing their own defensive capabilities, inspired by Earth's example. Others had established colonies under human protection. The balance of power had shifted permanently. In the years that followed, humanity expanded throughout the solar system and beyond, always keeping their defenses strong. The lesson of the collectors had been learned well. The galaxy could be both wondrous and dangerous,